Bird, man, listen, man. Start helping these young boys. I leave the king sleep, man. You know, don't wake the king up, man. You know what I'm saying? Woo! Bird!
All right, this should be very interesting. What we're about to check out, we're gonna look at a little bit of Danny Garcia film and see how he does when he's fighting lefties. I mean, you know, we got him and Errol Spence coming, so he definitely is going to be fighting a lefty. And actually, Danny has plenty of experience fighting lefties. Robert Garcia is the one we're about to look at right now. But yeah, he's pretty crafty, man. You gotta give him his props. He's a crafty guy. Watch how he put the shoulder in the way, put the hand up. Watch how he bounce off the I kind of bounce off the ropes and dip out. He's out. I'm gone. So like I said, he got pretty good footwork. It's not eye popping, that's all. Kind of like Canelo, you know, people say him and Canelo don't have good feet. I disagree. They know how to keep themselves in position to hit you, and they know how to get out of your range. That's really all you need. Now see, right there we see Danny use the jab. He flashed him with the jab, not really with the intent to hit him, but to blind him. And once again, you see him dip low and slip out the side. Nice little V-step to get on up out of there. But Danny has poor footwork. I disagree. Like I said, watch the head movement. He's way more elusive than what we give him credit for. Now, we see Danny countering over top of his opponent when he throws the right when he throws the right jab. But what does he do in other fights against lefties? Now we're going to take a look at the Zab Judah fight and see if he applied the same strategy or if he brings something different to the table. Now Zab Judah is quicker than Robert Guerrero and he has better footwork. So let's see how Danny attacks him. Alright, now you see Zab coming out trying to be aggressive with his jab. Now, Danny going to the body, once again leading off with that right hand. That's something you can expect him to do against lefties. Lead off with the right hand. And he tried to come over top of Zab's jab. Looked familiar. Now, in this fight, he did a little more attacking from the right hand side, which is something that's always a good idea to do with a lefty, because your straight right is kind of like your jab. But he's not just throwing the straight right, he's also going to be mixing it up with the right hook. Now, because he threw so many straight rights and right hooks, it kind of froze Zab up a little bit when it comes to him throwing his straight left. And that's pretty much all Zab does normally, is throw a straight left. So you see the posturing and whatnot, jockeying for position with the jabs. Or the straight right. That's going to be there all day. Any good strategist will tell you when you're fighting a lefty, you almost have to throw the straight right. The punch is going to be there all day, especially if you can get the proper position. Notice how Danny was stepping to his left, trying to get his outside, his left foot on the outside of Zab Judah's right foot. Once you do that, that lines them up perfectly. Now, Danny did a little more coming forward this fight. You know, he still does this little sliding backwards thing, trying to set traps, but he did more stalking this fight. He came forward, which is to be expected because Zab Judah is a little on the elusive side when he wants to be. And he's killing him with that straight right. Now, a lot of times he'll loop that straight right a little bit, but in this fight he actually was throwing it pretty straight. But I mean, you can see him setting it up. You see him doing it. Got it cocked and ready to go, and he smashes him with him right there. Right hook to the body. So notice everything was to that right hand side. Like I said, what that does, that neutralized Zab Judah's straight left by throwing his straight right so much and a right hook. At some point, Zab got to understand, I got to keep I got to keep my left hand up or I'm going to get hit. And because Danny's timing is so good, you don't want to throw at the same time with him because normally that ends up bad for the other person. So now let's look at him versus Shawn Porter so we can see what he looks like when he's fighting somebody extremely aggressive, kind of like Errol Spence. All right, let's see what Shawn does with him. Now you see Shawn doing what Shawn does. He's attacking. He's being extremely aggressive. Ironically, he didn't start the first couple rounds off like that. But he getting back to what he does best, being aggressive. Now Shawn kind of puts himself in no man's land where he gets inside Danny range and he finds out real quick what happens when you get inside Danny range and you're not throwing punches. You get clipped like that. But Danny smothers him when Shawn tries to fire back. Now you see, here we go. This is what you're going to expect from Errol Spence. Not quite as sloppy. Now Danny's smart enough to grab and hold him once Shawn got inside Shawn's range. He's trying to back Shawn up a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if he goes forward or try to go backwards against Errol. That should be very interesting. Now, once again, if you let him get you inside of his range and you're not throwing punches, he will knock the mess out of you. See, he led off with the left hook. He'll ease inside his range and he'll test the waters. Now, like I said before, and you'll probably hear me say it again, Danny has a very underrated defense. Shawn didn't hit him with a lot of clean punches, but you could say Shawn's not the most accurate guy in the world. But I will say this, Shawn is hard to keep him. It's hard to keep Shawn Porter off of you. And Danny Garcia probably did that better than anybody. Now you see him work to the body. That's something I definitely want to see him do more to Errol. But you see how he made Shawn miss all of that? Well, let's see it again. And Shawn presses him. He slips one, slips another, slips another. I mean, he made Shawn miss like 4 or 5 shots right there. All right. Now we see Shawn bringing more pressure. And I'll be honest, this is what got me worried about Danny. How's he going to take when Errol bring pressure on him? Robert Guerrero brought pressure, but Errol take it up to a whole nother level. And the only person I could think of that bring that kind of pressure, even though it's not from a left hand stance, and it's not quite as clean as what Errol brings to the table, is Shawn. And like when he jumped on Danny was smart enough to try to grab him and lock him up. I don't know if he'll be able to do that with Errol. And you see how Shawn is going to his body. Now Danny decided to resist a little bit, and you see Shawn trying to push him back. Now I will say this, and I don't know if we'll get any on the film session or not. But Danny kept his back off those ropes. He did not let Sean Porter pin him on them ropes to save his life. Normally, when his back hit them ropes, he'll either spin them or he'll grab them and hold on to dear life. So he didn't let Sean pound him on the ropes and headbutt him to death like Andre Berto did. Now this is what I expect to see Danny doing when he faced Errol, when Errol tried to get him on the inside. I expect Danny to try to get his little counter off and to lock him up. That's probably what we'll be seeing him doing. And that's a good strategy, because he doesn't throw the punch output that Errol does, and that's inside or out. But once he go inside and if he's not able to tie Errol up or hit him with something nice on the way in, then tie him up, it's gonna be a long night, a very long night. But yeah, he's definitely going to have to be able to bring something to the table to get him off of him. If he can't do that, he's going to be in big trouble. I mean, like, he's going to have to be able to use his jab a little more, because he's not going to be able to just invite Errol just to come on in anytime he wants to. And when Errol does jump on him, as we see in Sean do, he's going to have to get to Errol's body, because I guarantee you that's where Errol Spence is going to do. So you see Danny firing off some body shots, you're going to have to do that, because I guarantee you Errol is definitely going to go to your body, and he's going to bring just as much pressure as Sean Porter, if not more, and it's going to be more accurate. And he's not just going to run in, he's going to follow his jab in too. That's why I said Danny's jab is going to have to be important, because Errol will jab his way in. Now this is an interesting sequence right here, because you see Danny getting in and then having to get up out of there. Now he's going to have to do that a lot with Errol, I guarantee it, because a lot of people focus on Errol's attack, but Errol is a very good counter puncher as well. Not just Danny, but Errol is too. So when he tries to attempt to get inside, you're going to have to do whatever it is you're going to do and then get up out of there, because it's going to be some firework as soon as you step inside against Errol. And you got to be willing to get in, get out, and then retreat. You don't want to sit still against Errol, and I'll show you what I mean. Now watch what Errol does when Lamont Peterson presses forward and tries to attack him. And notice how he keeps spinning him too. That's so beautiful. But now he counterpunched him. Lamont insists on pressing forward. He countered him and spun him. Let's see that again. That was beautiful. You know, he's always on attack. Even when he's going backwards, he's attacked. Watch it, control him and spun him, get in position. Notice he's always moving his feet. He's even if he's not going backwards, he's going side to side. He's always controlling the angle. Now watch how he counter punches Lamont. Hit him with a nice little 1-2 and spun out. Danny's going to have to do things like that when he goes in here and he did some bad stuff. So let's go ahead and rewind it back, and I'll show you what I mean. Now Robert is attacking him on the inside. He's trying to grab him and cover up and whatnot. Now the hand that's free, he got to be a little more active with it. Either that or just cover or just grab him completely. So I didn't exactly like that. If you're not going to be punching with him, then you need to lock him up completely. Danny didn't do that, but when Danny did free the other hand, he blasted him and he got up out of there. You know, but now I'm gonna tell you, Danny, he didn't create enough distance. Number one, if you're going to bang on the inside, bang on the inside. If you're not, then get out of there. It's like too much inconsistency right here. If you're not trying to slug on the inside, grab him and lock him up. If you're going to do one arm, then you need to be throwing punches with that other arm, because I guarantee you, if you do that with Errol, he's going to do the same thing Guerrero's doing. He's going to keep throwing punches. So either grab him or not. Now Danny's picking his spots, and you see he let his hands go and start unloading on him. Beautiful. But now you got to create that distance. Now you see what he's doing? He's going straight backwards. If he does that with Errol, he will run him down and catch him. It'll be the same thing you saw with Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao. You don't want to retreat backwards. Go side to side like he did right there. So he did some good things and he did some bad things. I like the fact that he was grabbing, but if you're going to grab completely, if you're going to leave one arm out, then fire off with that arm. Now he set him up perfectly and got up out of there. Or at least he tried to. Now Guerrero cut him off. What did he do? He grabbed him and he locked him up. That's what he's supposed to do. You grab him and you lock him up. If you do the one arm thing, try to dirty box him, then you need to be throwing the punches with that one arm. So I like some of the things he did in that sequence. Some of it I didn't. Now when we look at this clip right here, Lamont Peterson landed some decent stuff, but he stayed in the pocket too long and he wound up paying the price for it. Errol spun him. And then next thing you know, your back is up on the ropes and you're getting attacked. This is what I mean. Let's watch it again. Now Lamont is on the attack, right? He's trying to get in on Errol. He fires the jab. Errol backs up. Lamont, you know, he's in a good position. Errol fires the jab, and Lamont counters the left hand, and he actually buzzed Errol a little bit right there, but Errol, you know, he got his head together and fired right back, and it was on. Lamont wasn't prepared for all of that, and he found himself in no man's land. And actually, I said Errol spun him. It looks more like Lamont spun himself, which is ironic. He actually spun himself, I guess, trying to gather himself and retreat. But you don't want to sit in that pocket with Errol like that. Now, and Lamont actually hesitated. That was part of the problem. When he cracked Errol, he sort of hesitated instead of either going all in or getting the heck up out of there. So that's just a couple examples of how you can find yourself in trouble trying to come in on Errol Spence, and once he starts unloading, it is what it is. So, I mean, with all that being said, it goes back to the original question. Well, I didn't ask it yet, but I'm going to ask it now. Can Danny Garcia beat Errol Spence? And the answer to that question is yes, he can beat him. Will he beat him? That's a whole nother question. Now, if I had to answer that, I would say no. Errol has more tools in his bag. Errol has the better footwork. Errol probably hit the hardest. Errol probably has the better defense. Now, I think Danny has a different style of defense, but Errol keep his defense pretty tight. But Errol is hittable too now. That straight, like I said earlier, that straight right will be there all day, and he will be able to throw it. The key to whether Danny Garcia beat Errol Spence or not really will be who gets off first. If Danny tries to lay back and just strictly rely on that counter, he will lose, and he might even get knocked out or stopped, because I don't want to say knocked out. He might get stopped. But if Danny uses his jab more and if he tries to offset Errol's jab with his jab, it might work. Especially if he mix it up and counter over top of it some as well, which we clearly saw he could do. If Danny takes away Errol's right hand, that fight would get a whole lot easier. If he try to do what he did against Zab and overwhelm Errol's left hand and force him to have to keep that hand in, he might actually be able to pull it off. But Errol can counter that by catching and shooting. You know, if he catches the right hand and fires far right behind it, then that's going to be a problem. But Danny has shown that he has techniques that could be effective in the fight. It's just a matter of whether or not he executes it. But the main ingredient in what he's going to have to cook up to beat Errol Spence is he's going to have to get off first. If he tries to rely on that counter stuff, it's not going to work, and he's going to lose.
That's pretty much all I got. This Head Busting Boxing Fight Doctor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know. Number one, did you think any of the stuff I said made sense? And do you think Danny Garcia has any chance of beating Errol Spence? I say he does, but he's going to have to stick to some of the stuff I said in the video. And that's pretty much all I got. This Head Busting Boxers on Fight Doctor. I am out.